Holidays, the best time of your life or either the most stressful time of your life. Welcome to Soul Quest. Let's talk about all the holidays that are celebrated in China and what to expect as an expat. Now, back in the States, you usually either have a PTO or some extra money. But how is it like out here in China? If you wait till the end of the video, I'll tell you why you should actually enjoy your vacation rather than getting your PTO. There is a lot of festival out here in China, but I'm just gonna talk about the public one and the mainstream one, so that way it's gonna be a lot simpler for a lot of first-year player out there. And of course, there are some other local festivals depending on which region you are in China, but these are some of the public holidays that are celebrated across China. I'm just gonna talk briefly about the description, but the most important thing is how it impacts you as an expat living or working in China. So January, the first of the year, that is New Year. Basically, you have like one day off to celebrate the New Year. You can actually play your fireworks and visit your family, or either relax in general, go to clubs, go to a bar, drink with some other expat as well. But most of the time, I think drinking in a bar is the most viable way for a lot of first-year player out there because they don't really know much about China just yet. And it's a great way for them to connect with other expat as well. Typically, you have one day off depending on the company. I never heard any company not having one day off. Either they have one day off or they half day off. And it's just a great time for you to just wind down and relax before the new year starts. Let's move on to February. The first one is Chunjie, which is Spring Festival. You have around 7 to 8 days off. It's a great time for you to kind of travel within China or outside China. But my most favorite part about this whole holiday is the weather. The weather is great around this time. There's a lot of flowers, especially in the Nanshan area or either the Futian area near Lianhuashan flower exhibition. It's a great time to be alive. But unfortunately, if you're working as an ESL teacher, you might have to work extra depending on which company you're gonna be in. And usually around this time, you're gonna be bogged down with more work because usually senior would take their PTOs after or before this holiday, so they get extended holiday, and you kind of have to take on the burden of those people who are going to the holidays. And next, let's move on to the Lantern Festival. That is Yuan Xiaojie. Basically, when you go around China, there's gonna be lanterns everywhere. Even in one of these like street lights around the area, there's gonna be big lanterns. It looks really, really festive. Most of the time, companies would often host events on lantern making session, or either school would have kids making their own lantern. If you are working in a school, you would have like half day off because kids would spend the whole day doing this like riddle or either events, games. It'd be a fun time for you since you get half a day off if you are working as a teacher. Now, if you are working as a training center teacher, I mean, tough luck, you still have to work that day. Next, let's move on to Valentine's. That is Qingrenjie. Basically, this is where you buy gifts for your partner. I mean, you get the whole gist of Valentine's, spend some money and have a great time, great dinner. But the most important thing is great discount, like I mentioned in my previous video. And you can buy discounted makeup, discounted clothing, anything that's gift-like in general, and you can get extra stuff with it. And there's gonna be decorations everywhere with hearts and pinks, especially in these like mega malls. Now let's move on to March, and that is International Women's Day. I think it's called Sunjie. Basically, if you are a female, half day off for you, congratulations. But if you are a male, tough luck, stay at work and actually pick up the burden of the female classes. And if you are working as an ESL teacher, basically you're picking up the female classes and you're gonna have extra work. And during this time, there's gonna be a lot of discount regarding like female products, makeup, etc. like that. It's a great time to be alive if you are a female expat working in China. Because not only that you get a gift from your partner, but also heavy discount and limited items in one of these Taobao online shops. And actually, if you go to the mall or outside the apartment, they would give you a single piece of rose, and the company will also give you a gift as well. For the next one, it's a bit new for me, and that is Arbor Day. I never really knew it existed until I did this research. Basically, this is where you kind of focus on environment. I think I did notice it a little bit because last year I had some of the students show me some plants just for the whole week, and I didn't really realize it was a big holiday until this research. And usually during these time, they would have like mini events for the elementary section for them to know more about nature and know more about how to protect the environment. Basically an environmental awareness day. And yes, you still have classes, unless if the class that you have is on an event and you are a teacher, then you have half a day off or like one class off. But if you're working as an ESL teacher, still working. Now let's move on to April. Unfortunately, they don't do April Fools, but they do celebrate the Tomb Sweeping Festival with this Qingyingjie. And I think this is like a 3-day holiday. And during this time, local people would often go back home and clean the tomb of their ancestors or either be with their family and burn some incense, burn paper money. It's a way for them to give gifts to the people that went to the afterlife that is part of their family. But as an expat, we don't celebrate this, but during this time, it's a great way for you to just travel within China. You have 3 days off depending on which company, and depending on your company, you might have to make up some of those days on Saturday or Sunday or some of your days off. And supposedly during this day, you're not allowed to eat cold food because I think that's for the ghost, some sort like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, comment down below. Now let's move on to the sweet summer goodness, and that is May. Let's talk about Labor Day, Lao Dong Jie. Basically, this is one of my most favorite holiday out there because you have 5 days off and the weather is great and you can just feel the sunshine. And this is the best time for you to travel within or outside China. But for me, I think I'd like to travel outside China because if we travel within China, this is gonna be like the busiest time of the year. If you go to touristy places in China, you're gonna be waiting in line and a crowd of like pedestrian. Next, if you're an elementary teacher, this is gonna be another favorite holiday for you. It's called Qingnianjie, basically youth holiday. Sometimes in my school, we would have like minor events for kids. So you would have like 2 or 3 class off, which is a great time for you to just kind of relax for a bit and take your mind off work. And now let's move on to June. Now let's talk about the real Children's Day, that is Jie. Usually for elementary students, they would go to the zoo or either go to like the theme park. And if you're lucky enough, you have 2 to 3 days off because most elementary students will be out of the school. But if you are working in the middle school, you're still working as usual. And if you are an ESL teacher, I think it's like a 50-50% chance because sometimes the parent would just pull off their kids from the ESL training center in order for them to enjoy the day since it is Children's Day. And next, let's move on to the most famous festival in the Guangdong area, and that is Dragon Boat Festival. That is called Duan Wu Jie. And you can either stay in China and enjoy Dragon Boat Festival. It is insane, a lot of people, and people are just like rowing these boats like crazy fast, or either get outside China and enjoy 3 days in Vietnam or either Thailand. Now, during this time, you would receive Zongzi or either lychee if you are in Shenzhen because it is in season. And it's a great time for you to just kind of relax and enjoy the summer. And if you go to like the mountains in the Nanshan Shenzhen area, there's gonna be lychee tree everywhere and just gonna pick it up from the tree and just taste it. It's fresh and amazing. Now let's move on to July, and that is the party's founding day, and that is Jiandong Jie. Basically, they're gonna have a big commemoration celebration in the morning, and there's gonna be armies raising the flags. I never really got to experience it myself, and I'm gonna try to wake up early this year and experience it. But usually you have it in the big squares, like in the Nanshan area near OCT Happy Harbor, and also in Futian area in the Convention Exhibition Center, I believe. And no, it's gonna be regular day as usual if you are working either a teacher or either ESL teacher. All right, now let's move on to August. And this one's new to me, and that is Army Day. That is Jianjun Jie. Basically, it's a holiday for military people. I think there are some discounts here and there from what I heard. And sometimes they do host events in school. I think I saw a couple of them during some marches in my school back then. I'm not sure if that's part of the holiday or either it's just some kind of events, but I think it's great for them to have a separate holiday for the military to kind of thank them for their service. And now let's move on to Ghost Festival. That is Zhongyuan. Basically, that people would burn incense money in order for the people from the afterlife to kind of purchase some stuff. Never really experienced it myself, but I saw this event in Hongfa Temple. There's like a crowd of people burning all the paper money. But yeah, it's a great way for them to kind of memorize their ancestors. And yes, it is still working day as usual, and there is no day off. Chinese Valentine's, Qixi Jie. Basically, this is where you're gonna buy another bouquet for your partner, buy them a great dinner, buy them gifts. And there's gonna be a lot of decorations in these mega malls, and there's gonna be a lot of girls in Hanfu because the weather is great time for them to take pictures, and plus it's a romantic day for them as well. And no, this is still another regular day, and you don't get any days off. Now let's move on to September. If you are a teacher, this is like basically nearing towards like the end of the semester, and you're gonna be enjoying a good cup of tea or either a good cup of coffee from Luckin's Coffee because this is Teacher's Day, and that is Jiao Shi Jie. Basically, it's a way for the students or either the upper staff management level to thank you for being a teacher, and they would often give you a gift. Sometimes the parent will give you gifts as well, but most of the time you get coffees from your school, or either students would give you like this teacher card telling you, thank you for being my teacher. And during this time, you have to open your office and you're going to get a lot of letters. And yeah, that's Teacher's Day is a way for them to appreciate the teacher, which is great. And I think we do have one in America and no one gives a hoot about it, but yeah, it is what it is. But I think that's great for them to kind of appreciate the teachers. Next one is the Mid-Autumn Festival, Zongzi. Basically, this is a 3-day holiday depending on where you work. And usually at this time, locals go back to their hometown and visit their family. But as an expat, this is a great time for you to go moon viewing. And actually, this is the great location for you to go moon gazing because there's empty skies and also skyscrapers right over there. It's a great place where you take pictures. As you can see in the background over here, a lot of people taking pictures. Right there. You got 1, there you go. 2. Right there, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But yeah, the main gist of it, great time for you to go moon gazing and also eat some mooncake. And one other tip for you, try not to eat more than like 2 mooncake because that's the mistake that I did on my first year. It looks so small, and then I'm just thinking to myself, oh, it's a small treat. That's nice. And I ate 7 of them. And you realize that one small mooncake is close to 800 calories. It is flipping insane. Now, back then, as a first-year American, I'm thinking to myself, like, it's already been half a year, and I already have, like, in total 1 week off, and it's just insane. But no. That's not enough. Now let's talk about the national holiday. That is Guoqingjie. It's a great time for a lot of local people to spend time with their family and also expats to travel within or outside China. Now guess how many days you get off? 3? Nah. 4? Nah. 7 days off. This is the only time where I'd like to be a training center teacher because sometimes you can connect your PTO with this national holiday if you are a senior teacher in that training center. So technically you can have half a month off and then just go anywhere you want outside or inside China. Another part to this, there's a lot of events, especially on these malls, because they know people are gonna go to these malls to be with their family and they're gonna spend a lot of money. And you can just go people watch or either try out new snacks that are offered by the mall. And during this time, there's gonna be a lot of new shops opening up as well. But unfortunately, if you go to touristy area in China, expect to be like a whole mosh pit of pedestrian to kind of tackle through because everyone is going to have the same days off as you, to all local people and also expat. Now, like I mentioned in my previous video, Chinese people still do celebrate Western holiday. And next one is Halloween, and that is called Guangshengji. Basically, if you are working in a school, you're going to have some student asking you for candies, or if you're working in a training center, even better. You have to do a cosplay and you have to work overtime because during this time, the company would like to kind of showcase their training center to get more customer. So they're going to parade you throughout the mall or either the local area and giving out events. As for me, on my first year, I did some pumpkin carving and I was just nervous because I'm just scared the kid would cut themselves. And I just think it was such a bad idea from the company itself. But you know what? I'm just like, yes, boss, let's do it. You know, I was just like the first year, so I didn't really know what I was doing. Next, let's move on to the saddest month, and that is November, which means no holiday. Sad. Next, let's move on to our last month, and that is December. Now, unfortunately, there's no Chinese holiday, but they do celebrate Christmas, and that is Shengdanjie. Now, as a teacher, it truly depends on the school. Either you get half day off or 1 day off or no days off, depending on how understanding they are. But as for a training center, this is where you're gonna work double or either extra. You're gonna be dressing up as a Santa or elf or either reindeer and kind of do a promotion session for the company. Now that sounds a bit depressing. Now let me make it a bit more festive. So after work, you typically in expat bars, malls, or either 1 week before Christmas in general, there's gonna be lots of event, lots of decoration in regarding to Christmas. And it's gonna be great for you to kind of just take picture for Instagram or either record videos. And another part to this is that if you want to buy products or item, they would have a limited item edition for Christmas. And another part to this, you have to prepare all your apples because you're going to give out apples to every one of your colleagues to show how much you appreciate them. Because giving out an apple means good luck, I think. It's on the screen right here. In general, you get a lot of public holidays out here in China, and even some schools allow you to get some days off during your Western holiday, depending on how your relations are with the school or either training center. Now, in general, I feel like the work-life balance here is great. You get a lot of days off. You get to find yourself. Hell, you even get paid for it. And I'd recommend people who just finished graduating and are not quite sure what to do, just take a year off and work in China. You get to have some nest egg money. You get to save as well, since the cost of living is very, very low out here. But also you get to kind of experience life as well before getting into the whole workforce. And if you're like me and you enjoy China, you can stay in China. There is a future out here if you put your mind into it and you kind of learn more Chinese in general. I'm still working on it. But yeah, that's about it with the whole Chinese holiday. If you have any question, or either you have any interesting stories that you'd like to share with me, comment down below. I would love to know. Until next time, Soul Quest logging out. Peace.
Solo